Hey guys, so for this video I want to read you guys the awful first dates from random people, and this is a site on the internet, and I visited this site one time before really late at night when I was bored, and has some pretty funny stuff, so I hope you guys enjoy it. So this first one is titled High School High Hopes. I'm a senior in high school, and another senior said he was going to pick me up for a nice dinner that night. I'm wearing a dress and high heels, thinking it will be a classy affair. He comes over on his bike and tells me to ride on his pegs. So I hop on, extremely embarrassed, and we ride not to a restaurant, but to a gas station. He buys himself a Pop-Tart and a beef jerky stick and asks me what I'm buying for myself for dinner. Trying to be nice, I just went along with it, buy myself a bottled iced tea, and say I'm ready to go. He rides me home on his bike, then grabs my boobs in front of my yard. My dad was watering the garden and was horrified. If I was in high school and someone said, "Hey, I'll pick you up," and they come and ride on their bike, I would just be like, "Dude, get in my car and I'm taking control of the date and I will tell you where to go." I wonder what kind of Pop-Tart he got though. So, next one. New kid on the block. On the day of our high school Halloween dance, and one of our friends asked out the new kid down the street trying to be nice. At our group dinner, his manners were horrid. He ate over half the food that was supposed to be for the entire table, sounds like me, and made a huge mess, also sounds like me. A few days after the dance, he acquired a few pictures of our friend from Facebook and sketched them every day until her family moved out of state. Creepy. Another one of our friends agreed to go on a date with him, still trying to be nice because he was a new kid. So he picked her up for the date in a cardboard box that he drew to look like a car, and the date was walking to his house to watch movies with his family. If somebody picks you up in a cardboard box for the very first date, obviously you're going to have a pretty weird experience. So, yeah. Let's see here. Date box from hell. I met a guy through my brother, and our first date was to a small diner. While waiting to be seated, he looked through a rack of gag cards and found one with an old beat-up car on the front and the words, "Shitbox from hell." Oh, I've read this one before, it sucks. I didn't think it was that funny, but okay. We were seated by the window, and every time a car would drive by on the street, he would jump up, point at it, and scream, "Shitbox from hell, ha ha." This happened even if we were in the middle of a conversation. If somebody did that, I would probably say, "Okay, quit your shit," and then if they keep on doing it, just get up and leave. I mean, God, that's just idiotic. Continuing on though, it was a family restaurant, and I tried quietly and politely to tell him people were not happy with his language and volume. He never got the message, obviously, in more ways than one, since I avoided his call only to find him waiting at my house after work one day. I had to call the cops to make him leave. I'm sorry, but if you go on a date with a person one time and you already stalk them and show up to their house and call them a million times, you have serious issues. I mean, come on. The next day I came home from the work to find all of my house's rear house windows broken. Now I guess my house is a shitbox from hell. I don't really like that one. Falling for her. He said he only had $10 to spend. So we would have to split a beer. How do you split a beer? Then he wanted to slow dance, but he kept stepping on my feet. Of course he did. When we went to sit back down, he missed the whole chair and fell down. And I knew he wasn't drunk because he'd have half a beer. How do you only buy one beer with $10? Where'd you go? To like a baseball game or something? You could probably buy like, I don't know. I'm underage, so I have no idea. But I know you can buy more than one beer. Taco Hell. We walked almost 4 miles in 20-degree weather. Okay, what? Who would do that? I mean, seriously, I don't care who the person is. I would not walk 4 miles in 20-degree weather just for a first date. Searching for a Taco Bell. Maybe if I was starving and had no food in my house would I do that. But he kept insisting insisting it was only another few blocks. For our 99-cent tacos, we went Dutch, and he kept telling me how he was restraining himself from using his smartphone. Ooh, such a such a strong man restraining himself from using his phone. I mean, I'm pretty sure he gets a lot of text messages and a lot of phone calls from women, right? Needy Ned. I met him online and liked him, but I knew something was off when I heard his suggestion for a first date. Skydiving, going away to the mountains for the weekend, going for a helicopter ride, etc. Well, you kind of set yourself up for this one. I suggested we grab a bite downtown. When he picked me up, I got into his car, and all he said to me was, "So your place or mine? We can go to mine, but I think my mom might still be up." He was 29. I left early and he texted me the next morning saying that I needed to be more attentive to his needs. So, what that means to me is you should have... I don't know. So, did you go on the helicopter ride? Or not? She'll be engaged next week. That's the next title of the story, not the girl. I met this guy at a zombie event that my friend took me to, and he asked for my number. 3 days after we started talking, he asked me to the movies. He said it wasn't a date and that we should both invite friends. I agreed. I ended up not being able to go. Yesterday I went to another zombie party, and everyone there kept referring to me as his girlfriend. He told everyone we were exclusive. Well, I don't even know what to say about that one. I don't know. His greatest role, normal guy. This should be interesting, considering I think I'm a normal guy. I met a guy who I had some mutual friends with, and he invited me over to his house, saying they were going to join us. At his place, he started going on about these crazy adventures that he'd been on that sounded like something out of an action movie. When I asked him what on earth he was talking about, he told me he was referring to things that his character had done in the Vampire... I remember reading this one. Vampire the Masquerade role-playing card game. Keep in mind this guy was 34 years old. He then went to his bedroom and came out with all these cards, t-shirts, and costumes that he and his friends would wear while acting out the game. Not just role-playing, but getting in capes with fake swords and the whole bedroom and the whole thing. But that's what role-playing is. Like, what does she think role-playing is? I just sat there wondering when our friends would show up. They're never going to show up. He took his collection back into the bedroom, and when he returned to the living room, he was he was naked, except for the cape. He then confessed that our friends were not coming at all, like I told you guys, and he lied to get me there. I grabbed my purse and jacket and ran for the door. He chased after me, cape flying out behind him, yelling, "Can't we just hook up? You came all the way over here. Why not? Please? Pretty please?" Late because he's depressed. He called at the time he was supposed to pick me up to say he would be late. An hour and a half later, he showed up. At that time, I'd be like, screw it. But by then, we had missed the movie and we were going to see. See, I'd be pretty pissed because I love being on time to my movies, at least 30 minutes early, because I gotta sit right in the middle row and seat. Oh, I'm pissing. Wait a second. So he says he knows this great little restaurant, which turns out to be a dingy bar in the basement of a hotel. What? We ordered bad food that arrived on dirty plates, and while we were eating, he explained that he used to be on antidepressants, but that it gave him erectile dysfunction, depressed, or impotent. Way to sell yourself, dude. Wait, they went to a bar in a basement of a hotel? That's a little weird. Let's get a good one. A bad preview. We go to the movies, and once it gets dark, it gets awkward. First, he decides that he wants to hold my hand, but instead of asking, he says, "You should hold my hand." I don't, so he grabs my hand anyway, and places it in his lap and begins rubbing up and down on my arm. Maybe he thought you were cold, and he was just trying to warm you up. I eventually managed to squirm my hand out of his crotch area, and he lets go of my hand, so I am wanting to... She's relieved. That is until his hand is suddenly on my lower back under my shirt. I squirm away from that, but then he begins rubbing his hands up and down my side. By now, I'm way past uncomfortable. I was way past uncomfortable from the beginning. I remove his hand and bolt to my car. So, how did he get home? If you drove. But yeah, after... I don't see... if he touched me and didn't want to touch me, I'd be like, dude, no. And then if he did it again, I would leave. Where's the eject button? Right here. I chatted with the guy online for a few weeks, and we eventually decided to meet up. He picked me up in his truck and drove more than 20 miles over the speed limit, tailgating everyone that got in our way. Well, I don't know. With me in the passenger seat, holding on for my dear life. After lunch, he told me he had a surprise for me, and he took me to his mother's house. She was thrilled to have her son bring a girl home and seemed to know everything about me. Apparently, he had been telling her everything we had been talking about online for the past few weeks. I'm still not sure which part is worse, feeling like I would never leave his vehicle alive, or the look in his sweet mother's eyes when she realized I had no intention of becoming her future daughter-in-law. Well, I don't know. He's obviously a mama's boy. High school, high hopes. I'm a senior in high school, and another senior said he was going to pick me up for a nice dinner that... Oh, fuck. I've already read this one. Hold on, guys. Older entries. So I actually haven't had a really bad date. The last date I did go on was... I don't know. It was one of those times where as soon as you guys see each other and she got in the car, it was like, this isn't going to work out. But I sucked it up, and the date wasn't awkward, but it wasn't really fun. We just didn't match or connect, really. But I haven't had any dates where like someone did something crazy so far. Alright, so the next one. I fell for him. She probably literally fell on her ass, is what I'm guessing. After having a nice coffee date, we proceeded to leave the restaurant, and he began walking me to my car. I reached the top of the concrete stairs outside and hit a patch of black ice, and I fell down hard, face first. Sitting up in shock and embarrassment, I tried to act casual. Okay. But there was blood running down my face, and he just stood there looking at me, licking his lips. No, he wasn't licking. Well, maybe he was. I knew I had a concussion and asked him to call an ambulance for me, and then they carted me off to the hospital alone. Later that night, he texted to see if I was okay. I said yes and asked if he'd like to get together with me when I was feeling less clumsy, and he never responded, as if the bruises weren't insult enough. So why did he... I don't know. Just because someone falls doesn't mean you just have to, like... She did something else, obviously. She just didn't fall on her face. Due date. We made plans to go out, and I knew from a previous conversation with him that he had an ex-girlfriend who was pregnant with his child. That just raises a flag for me, honestly. When we met up, we had a good time talking and drinking all night, and then he mentioned that his child was born that very night, and he had left the hospital to come meet me. Well, Father of the Year award? Bad body language. We met on the dance floor, swing dancing to be exact. He was fawning all over me, flirting shamelessly. By the way, I'm 56 and he's 60. Dang, 4 years apart? Just kidding. We got out for a date and had fun. We're really comfortable together and got intimate, but then he dropped a bomb saying, "You should use some of your inheritance and treat yourself to breast augmentation surgery." What? I'm perfectly happy just the way I am. And FYI, I wear a 32C and I have no idea what that means. But he told me he just couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle 32C, so how does he expect to handle larger breasts? Get it? It's a bad joke, I know. Older entries. One more, and then I'll end the video. Okay, this one looks good. He's porny. We met at the library of all places and had a really intellectual talk about our favorite books. We exchanged numbers, and I called him a few days later to see if he wanted to meet up again. When I asked what he was doing, he said, "Not much, just watching some porn." I thought it was a joke until he asked if I wanted to come over and watch with him. So, he was being honest, I'll give him that. And if you don't want someone to tell you, I don't know, the truth, or if you say, "Hey, what are you doing?" and they tell you the truth and you don't like it, you kind of got what you asked for. And, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a bad date, maybe? Anyways, this site is really fun to read, and I'll probably do another video tomorrow reading some. Anyways, hope you guys had fun. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.